What's up, guys? Alex Keeson here. Good morning. Hopefully you're having a wonderful week. I'm thrilled and excited to have another opportunity to speak with you and share some of my experiences and tips with you, as well as to hear from you specifically with different opportunities, different stories that you've been sharing through your comments and in the blog, as well as in social media. So I really appreciate that. I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to share yet another day with you. One thing that I wanted to talk about briefly today, and something that I wanted to share, which I think many of you will absolutely relate to, and that is living in the past. So that's something. It's a feeling. It's a thought that often comes to many of our minds throughout the throughout the day, throughout the week, month, year, where we often get into a situation, especially when perhaps something doesn't go the way we expected, or perhaps something in our life is not in the position where we are necessarily really happy about. Perhaps we're facing some temporary challenges, roadblocks that we need to or we're working to overcome. And at this point, that's typically when you have this thought that comes into your mind, and thought of the past, especially if you're lived good 30, 40, 50 years now, and and you've accomplished a lot, you've went through a lot, you've seen many different things happening over the course of your life so far, and including those years a long time ago, when you were a child still, and then also the years prior to where you are today. And then you start thinking about asking yourself a question, or sharing that with somebody, with your spouse, with your significant other, and start talking about your friends that remember how, or remember when. And that's typically how the conversations start. Remember how we did X. Remember how when we went on this particular trip, or when we were little kids and we had it this way, and it was a blast, and we did this and that, and we had so much fun. I wish we could see and do exactly the same thing now. And you bring up all the great memories, and I'm not saying absolutely here that, make sure you please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying that you shouldn't or you should forget those experiences from the past, especially great experiences and fun and those memories that you've had. Absolutely, you definitely need to hold on to those experiences. You need to remember them. But I think what I'm trying to stress here is it's one thing remembering them, and it's one thing to recalling how great things were. But when you start using that as a point of reference to, I wish it was that way now, I wish this was exactly the same experience today. One thing to remember is it will never be the same way. Things, what you've experienced 20 or 30 years ago, or even just a few months ago, a few years ago, it won't be the same. It's going to be different. It's going to be a different experience. It's going to be a different environment. It's going to be a different country, whatever. It's never going to be exactly the same. And because times change, people change, the opportunities come and go, and it's important to realize you have to make the best out of where you are today. So if you had a wonderful experience at a particular place where you went on, perhaps on vacation, and a few years ago, and you had a wonderful time, you had a great time, just remember, even if you go back to the same location again, it's not going to be exactly the same. It's going to be different. It's going to be perhaps still a wonderful experience, but it's not going to be exactly what you experienced before. Same thing, just like that is also in our life. When you go back all the way to the childhood years, when you were just a teenager, for example, and you had all this great time hanging out with your friends and doing things that kids at that time did, playing outside or whatever, because perhaps there were no phones at that time, and kids actually did spend time outside playing. If you going back into those times and say, well, I wish it was the same way now for my kids, well, it's not going to be. It's going to be different. The kids these days, the teenagers these days now, in the 21st century and moving forward, it's going to be absolutely different. What it is today, it's going to be a different, absolutely experience, a few years from now, because there will be different technology, there will be different things available to us and available to our children that they can have access to. The biggest thing would be technology. So yes, it's you're going to see less kids playing outside, but it's one of those things where, again, you just have to make the best out of where you are and accept it and appreciate it and move forward along with it, while at the same time holding on to those wonderful memories. So that way, when you're sitting in front of around the table and you're meeting your family, talking to your friends, and you have those great memories that you've spent together to recollect on, and dig into your memory bank and bring out those wonderful times and share them with everybody else that once again, yet while at the same time appreciating where you are today and where you're moving forward. So that's something, and I know I'm guilty of this as well. That's the reason I wanted to share with you, because it's important for us to remember that, and because otherwise we just keep dwelling on things that will never be the same, and things have changed, and instead of creating a very positive experience, we're creating something absolutely different, which destroys that wonderful memory that you have. So this was Alex Keeson. Hopefully you found this relatable, you found this motivational to keep moving and keep driving forward and appreciate the time and what you have today, and be grateful for the things that you have in your lifetime and right now in your life. I hope to hear from you as well with your comments, when your feedback, and what your thoughts are and your experiences. This was Alex Keeson. I will talk to you soon, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.